friends, Kevin Steinman here with my co-host Chelsea Penner. This is Crypto Daily News, episode number 43. And you know what? I'm just noticing in this freaking bloodbath of a bear market that Bitcoin is below $5,000. It's actually at $4,691 right now. Ethereum is freaking sitting at $143. Oh. Mind you, back in December, November of last year, I think Ethereum was over $1,000, right? Yeah, and that's crazy to think about. EOS hasn't really gone down that much. It's still about $4. We got XRP, it's at that 48 cents. And then we have LTC, which is Litecoin, by the way, for you guys who are not so favorable towards Litecoin. It's still a coin after all. It's sitting there at about, I think, $38. $35 actually. So
$35. That's crazy.
Pretty crazy to see this bloodbath and not just a lingering of the bear market. I actually am so surprised to see Bitcoin underneath $5,000 because I saw that it peaked, or I'm not peaked, but actually dropped to about 5,200, and then it went back up to about 5,600, and I was thinking that it wasn't going to actually continue going down, but the fact that it has, to me, is crazy. So I think for the most part, we're seeing a lot of things happen as it relates to the SEC and different governments getting more involved into regulating the industry. So it's causing for a bit of a slowdown, especially in the ICO space, where they're no longer even being called ICOs, but STOs is the new term you're going to hear a lot more for security token offerings. And once something is a security, it just naturally takes longer because of the different things that people have to go through to be able to acquire it as an asset and as a security. So there's that stuff going on, but it's going to be really interesting to see also what happens in 2019 with stable coins. Stable coins are essentially coins that are backed by real world assets. So there's already a handful of people who have stable coins and they're using this technology. IBM is a great example with their WorldWire platform. They're actually using Stellar's protocol. And then we also have Gemini, which announced their GUSD not too long ago. And there are a few other companies doing this as well, but I think that's going to be something really interesting to look at in the future and hopefully help with the adoption and mass adoption, because people won't have to be as afraid as the price crashing like it is right now, because it's just based on market volatility. So what do you think, Chelsea?
Oh, there's so much going on. And again, this is all speculation because no one really 100% knows like everything that's going on that's causing billions to being pulled out of the market. But there are a few things that we believe have attributed to this. And number one, of course, is the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. With the Bitcoin Cash hard fork, there's two different Bitcoin Cashes now. And the main reason why I believe people pulled money out of Bitcoin is because miners that choose to mine the new Bitcoin Cash would be basically dropping Bitcoin value. So the new Bitcoin Cash owner basically said publicly he didn't care about Bitcoin's value dropping. So that the people that pulled out billions of dollars was one day before Bitcoin Cash hard fork. So there was a huge drop, mostly because of the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. So other things that are also going on right now too, which are leading to the crypto crash, crypto Armageddon. And one is Mt. Gox. So you guys remember the story about Mt. Gox? Mm-hmm. It happened years ago. Well, they actually had to repay some money, legally. There's a long story, and I'm not going to bore you guys with the details. You can look it up. But basically, Mt. Gox has to repay some money, and they were told that they had to pay it back in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. And what they did was really stupid, I believe, because they're paying the Bitcoin back at the value that it was at the time that this whole Mt. Gox fiasco happened, which obviously is going to crash the price of Bitcoin. Like, why? Like, why not pay back in fiat? I just don't understand, like, it's crashing. Because I think back then it was well under $1,000 at the time that happened. I think Bitcoin was just kind of getting off the ground, and so that's causing a lot of the crash. And again, you can look this up. There are several articles about the Mt. Gox thing. And actually not a lot of people are talking about it online right now. I'm not really sure why. But they did, the articles that I found were from a couple months ago where they did actually talk about what this would do to Bitcoin. So I think it's actually happening right now, along with the Bitcoin Cash hard fork, and then along with people's FUD. And the big whales, you know, they have their own personal reasons for wanting to sell when they want to sell, when they want to buy. I have several friends that are trying to buy millions or also trying to sell millions, and all just for their own reasons that have nothing to do with the market. So I do think that these are the biggest factors as to what's going on. And it's kind of crazy too, because this time of year last year, we were having such an amazing bull run.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
So I think a lot of people were kind of expecting right now to be completely opposite of what's going on.
Yeah, actually it's interesting you say that too, because I know, like, for instance, there's a ton of people who provide signals out there, and there are a good handful who are making these projections as if they're a fact, and like, oh yeah, we saw this bull flag coming, Bitcoin's just right around the corner, it's gonna pick up, so you're so lucky that you're listening to this, and you get to get in right now, and all this stuff. But the reality of the matter is, whether it's cryptocurrency, forex, commodities, stocks, what have you, no one can predict the future of the markets. Ever. Except for us, because we're totally financial experts. Not really. If you listen to anything we say, you may go broke and die. Yeah. Disclaimer. But anyway, so, you know, I think it's just such a stark contrast to what people saw last year, where, like you said, you know, at this time last year, it was on a bull run, and it didn't even stop until, like, the very end of December. Yeah. And that is when everything started crashing down. But maybe it is this type of thing that has caused this early to happen, where Bitcoin now, I think, is at its lowest it's been in, like, I don't even know how many years.
It's all year low.
Yeah, like, what was it maybe 2 years ago, was it?
Well, actually, the beginning of 2017, it was still, like, around a little under 1,000. It was like 700.
So
it's an all year low for this low.
But yeah, it's still crazy to see it, like, beneath $5,000.
It is, yeah, because we thought we had a resistance around 5,000, 6,000. There's another rumor, and I talked about this on my YouTube as well as my live on the Bitcoin Cash hard fork day. So this other rumor is really fascinating. This is a rumor. So again, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but they are like a couple degrees of separation from Brock, and they claim they know Satoshi Nakamoto. So again, you know, take this at your own risk or whatever. So people are claiming that they know Satoshi, and he's not happy with what's going on with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and people's greed, scams, and stuff like that. He's basically saying that there's a bunch of people, or a small number of people, that benefited from other people's losses with last year's all-time high. And they're like living life lavishly this year and chilling, and a bunch of people like lost their life savings and whatnot, and it really upset Satoshi Nakamoto because it's not what he was intending with Bitcoin. So he wants to release a lot of his Bitcoin from his private wallet, and this will saturate the market and basically flood it and lower the value. So why he would want to do this to his own project kind of blows my mind, but I can kind of understand like why he created something that was supposed to be empowering us and lifting us up, and this decentralization, and just things kind of got crazy for him this year with, you know, people's greed and then of course institutional money coming in, and then futures coming and screwing things up, and it's just not what he was envisioning. So the Bitcoin's going to be released, and then that could definitely drop Bitcoin's price even more. So again, it's a rumor, but some people buy and sell off rumors. So I just thought I would let you know that that's circulating from a couple different sources.
Well, it's good to know. I think something that's really important to consider is just kind of how markets evolve, and we're kind of in this like stage between where Bitcoin maybe over the last 18 months has been in infancy stage, and we're kind of moving towards an adolescent stage now, because especially with the SEC getting involved as much as they are, as well as all the governments around the world. I mean, if this whole past 6 months of a lingering bear market hasn't been evident of just exactly what I just said, then I don't really know what is, because in essence, it's almost like cryptocurrency exploded onto the scene, especially in 2017. I think what really started putting it on the map was Silk Road, when Silk Road got taken down. Because when Silk Road got taken down, people were like, oh, this online, like, you know, site that was selling drugs and all these things got taken down by the government, and they were using this thing called Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? And then all of a sudden everyone starts becoming interested in what Bitcoin is, not even caring about what the blockchain is for, what it actually does, being the underlying technology that powers Bitcoin. And all of a sudden people just started thinking that, oh, Bitcoin's this cool thing, if I put in some money it'll go up a lot and I'll make more money, boom. But it's like, you know, I think to what you were saying earlier, if that is the case where it's become such a capitalistic intention for people to come into the market solely because they're like looking to make a profit, as opposed to maybe discovering what other ways they could benefit from through the use of Bitcoin and other currencies, coins, and tokens, that might be the longer term way to look at it. But certainly it's hard to control individual capitalism, and especially if there's a group of people who they don't have the best interests of many people, and they're only looking out for themselves to try and make that profit and turn it into something like a fortune, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, there is some positivity here, though, you guys. I don't think that crypto is dead, you know, so we don't have to like freak out and sell everything.
Don't have to jump out the window.
Don't jump out the window. I think if you can put it in something stable like Tether, or, you know, get asset-backed crypto or tokens, I think that's really smart right now while everything is just so hectic and crazy. But I do still believe that institutional money is coming, because there's so much groundwork that's being laid for institutional money this year. You know, Fidelity just happened, and then one of the ETFs is looking really positive, because an ETF just got approved in Switzerland, which is like really crazy, awesome, great news.
Yeah,
that means that it's, you know, possible in our world, our crazy world, for an ETF to be approved in crypto. So maybe, you know, the United States may follow suit. We don't know. Maybe other countries will first, and then, you know, maybe if there's enough other countries that are making money, then maybe our government will want to make money. You know, so I think that's good news. There is good news in this like bloodbath. You know, so I don't think all is lost. I just do think it's like a transitional moment. It's like a Scorpio death rebirth cycle. Like, that's why this month has been so crazy, because Scorpio has been a new moon. It's a Scorpio time of year, you know, so there's been fires and there's been like mass shootings, because it's just a hectic death rebirth cycle. So I think of crypto as like going through that death cycle right now and rebirthing into something beautiful next year. So if it's strong, you know, be a hodler. If you're not, put it into something more secure. I can suggest some things, maybe you can too. The the asset-backed crypto, like real estate ones and REITs, those are really good. There's some precious metal ones. And then I really like, one program I really like is you can hire a professional trader that's licensed and bonded, which is important because it makes it secure. And he's been doing an average of 10% a month during the bear market. So, you know, there's stuff like that that still makes us money. And so not all is lost, you know.
Yeah, I think that's some good way to put it. The only other thing I was going to say was in relation to essentially the future of cryptocurrency and companies, and also new companies that are looking to start and try and capitalize on the industry. And this is actually a really good point that was brought up by William Quigley, who is the founder of Wax and Tether. I was actually meeting with him a couple days ago, and he said something really smart, and I just have to tell you guys about it because I thought it was so insightful. Essentially what he said is, he's a venture capitalist background, by the way, just so you get where this is coming from. He said that it's important not to get confused with the creation of value and the capturing of value. And a great way to look at this is if you look at the internet and email. You know, the internet was the creation of value, but if you think about the internet as a whole and its ecosystem and what has done for society versus what email has done and how much value email has captured in relation to the internet as a whole, it's really no comparison there. And the same could be said about blockchain. Essentially, there's a lot of great blockchain companies out there and coming out every single day, but how many of them will capture the value that they need to survive in a market like this, as opposed to just creating something that they think people will find valuable, when in reality, the value will only be determined by the transactions and the utility of it itself.
Yep.
And if there is no utility, there is no transactions happening, the token's gonna go like this.
Yep.
And then essentially we're looking at a mini bear market. But anyway, don't really have much to add besides the fact that the other day I did mention on an earlier episode for Crypto Daily News with our CDNO token, we are donating up to 10 million tokens to any of the Northern California wildfire victims. They can use these tokens for any of our services for brand builders. So it includes any social growth, or if you want to use the tokens for ad space on Crypto Daily News, you can as well, or any type of business coaching consulting too. This is really just in an effort to do what we can to help those that were affected, and also help those people understand what cryptocurrency is and what it's for too. So it really serves as a dual benefit, both for educating people on what cryptocurrency is and what it can be used for, but also trying to offset some of the damages that they have experienced by giving them tokens that they can use for real world services.
I like that a lot. And speaking of the wildfires, we really need to go after the utility companies.
Yeah. PG&E.
They're starting these fires.
Yeah. So we can't let them get away with this type of stuff. And I think, as Chelsea had alluded to earlier, this is kind of a rebirth moment for maybe the cryptocurrency markets, maybe humanity and society as a whole. But when we come together and when we are united, we certainly stand stronger than when we are apart.
I agree. We're all one.
We're
Namaste.
all one. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. We'll be sure to keep you posted on all other things related to crypto. Chelsea Penner, Kevin Steineman, Crypto Daily News.
Ridiculous. Without even trying, how did they do this? Is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated